Hello, our SeptaSOAREous.
I'm Septa.
I'm Sword. This is us.
SeptaSOAREous.
Rex. Rex. And today we're going to be checking out BTS Rockstars, a video essay by Boracity Magazine.
Yes, this video has come to our attention because our lovely SeptaSOAREous have notified us that apparently there's clips of us in this video.
Yeah, so this is going to be really weird. Excited to see her, not excited to see myself.
Oh.
And I am incredibly curious at what clips exactly are in this, because last we looked, we're over 200 videos now on our channel, so there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, and we're also just excited to see the content of this video.
Yeah,
since it says BTS are rock stars.
Yeah, you know what? We dabble in the metal and rock genre a lot. That's like our main go-to. So we'll be the judge of that. Okay?
Maybe they do too.
No. I don't care. We will be the judge. We'll just see what they say about it. I am curious. The definition of like rock star and what it is to be a rock star stuff has definitely shifted since like the big rock star days of like the 80s.
Yes. Yeah, I would say that there's a different definition now for sure.
I would maybe argue that like hip hop stars and rap stars are almost the new rock stars.
Rock star.
That's where my mind would go to for the like modern rock star. So I'm curious in what way they'd be comparing K-pop idols and stuff to rock stars.
So I think it comes down to like the definition of rock star. Are we thinking like toxic, trash your hotel room kind of rock star? Or are we thinking like performance artist on like a pedestal kind of rock star?
Right.
So I guess we'll see.
Just a quick disclaimer. If you're a rock fan or metalhead, I know how this community can be. So just don't be pretentious. Be open-minded and nice. If you're an ARMY but don't like hard rock or any kind of metal music with screams and loud instruments, I know you're going to be respectful. Just remember that these genres are not always pretty, and the music videos and live performances I will show can be a little disturbing. Also, please don't take my comparisons too seriously. This video is based mainly on my opinion. I love rock music. Actually, my favorite music genres are rock, metal, and their subgenres. But my favorite artist is actually BTS. This may be surprising because BTS music catalog includes a lot of music genres, but they don't do a lot of hard rock. They do have songs with rock elements.
That performance.
Yeah.
This is such a good performance.
The City, okay. Check that out. I haven't checked that out, have we?
No, we heard snippets of My City in
Where's the Bonton?
Yeah. Ooh, what's that? That's pretty. How?
Pretty good song.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm seeing so many that we just haven't even checked out yet.
We're going to, don't worry. We'll get there.
Oh, shit. I don't know, man.
Yes. Yeah, get it, J-Hope.
can't believe I loved you once. For me once, not for me
What is
twice.
that? Change Part 2
Yeah, that
by
sounded
RM?
really cool, actually. Oh, yeah.
I still love this song.
Just using like the clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Really weird looking though. Oh yeah.
But these songs were not the ones that made me an ARMY. Actually, the song that first got my attention was the disco funk bubblegum pop anthem Boy With Love.
We still haven't seen that one.
No, we haven't.
To be more specific, I got interested in BTS after watching the live performance of Boy With Love at M Countdown. At first, I didn't really understand why this specific performance got my attention. I didn't understand why BTS got my attention. What I'm about to say are just dumb stereotypes. But how can a performance of 7 men dressed in pink doing a choreography to a very poppy pop song be cool to a rock audience? Why did this make me a fan? It made no sense. But after years of learning more and more about the group and interacting with the fandom, I realized that it makes a lot of sense and that I'm not the only one. There are many ARMYs who consider rock music their favorite genre, but they are still fans of BTS. This is just my opinion, but I think this is because BTS gives so many rockstar vibes without necessarily having the conventional rockstar music. Despite seeing rock fans and metalheads reject them at first, just like I did, I now notice that BTS keep attracting this community. Here's why I think this happens.
I guess that's the first taste, because didn't they say we're in it a few times?
Yeah.
God, that was weird, first of all.
I was like, just a face.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, that's just.
So I find it very interesting because we definitely fall into that category. Like she just said,
Yeah.
we're metalheads, but we have found ourselves drawn into ARMY.
Yeah, I think like so far she's going into like the reasons that she thinks that it happens with metalheads, but she was talking about like a specific performance that like really
Pulled her in.
I don't know that necessarily happened for me. I don't think it was a singular thing that really just like got the hooks in and then drug me in.
Mm-hmm.
We checked out like the live performance of
Butter and Dynamite. Yeah, that was our first one.
Which was interesting, and we did enjoy the performance, but that didn't really like sink in. And then ARMY came in and was like, yo, check this stuff out though. And we're like, okay, well, Community's really cool to us. So sure, yeah, let's go check some more out. And then we checked out like Fake Love and like Black Swan, which are still like two of our favorites.
They're so good.
Just love them so much. But those weren't even, for me personally, like what drug me in either. Because there's plenty of artists that I'm like, I like one or two songs and then, okay.
And then you're good.
Just move on.
Yeah.
It's just been like a whole journey for me, at least, from where I was to where I am. It's just interesting because for me, it's like this like whole package thing of who they are, what they write about, like their lyricism.
Yeah, what they stand for.
What they do for like charity work, stuff like that. And then just like the music in general. It's just like this whole like ARMY, and it's for me, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it than just BTS. And that makes it so much more than what a lot of people would assume like enjoying a group is. So there's a lot more to pull you in than just the performances. I thought it was interesting that she went to the stereotype about like a bunch of guys wearing pink and stuff. But I'm not going to lie. I think breaking gender norms and stuff like that is way more metal than anything.
Just think of, like the 80s with like Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, Twisted Sister, like Twisted Sister, Dee Snider, the lead singer, was like cross-dressing on stage. And
Yeah.
I mean, like breaking those gender norms and everything is just what happened then. All the like makeup and the big hair and
Yeah, the hair bands.
you know, all that stuff was what rock stars did.
Yeah.
You know, so
They see those stereotypes and they laugh in their face.
exactly. Yeah, so you could almost put that in like another little bracket of BTS
Rockstar.
being rock stars, man, because they're like, screw that.
Yeah.
We don't care.
They're like, I'll wear pink.
Yeah.
I'll wear makeup. I'll wear skirts. Who cares? Literally, who cares?
But let's see if they elaborate more on how they became, you know, such big BTS stans.
Yeah.
I love watching rock concerts and performances because they are insane. No matter
so
what
fun.
they're singing,
Yeah, they're
you can
super
expect
fun.
a lot of energy, live vocals, and a real passion for performing. To be more specific, I see that both BTS and my favorite rock bands get into character. They feel the music so much that they forget about everything else. They are determined to put on a show. They perform like it's their last. Also, whether they like to admit it or not, there is a lot of thought in those concert outfits. If it's not masks, it's extravagant outfits or crazy makeup or unique hair colors or something different.
Yes!
The same way there's thought to BTS's outfits and stages. There is a theme and a different aesthetic every time. In pop music, this is hard to find with male singers. Female singers and rappers are usually the ones who care about looking good on stage, as well as rehearsing to give a
Wild.
performance
I know,
worth
that's a crazy
watching
outfit.
because people are paying to see them. But I don't always see the same energy from male singers. Male pop singers usually go on stage with an outfit you can wear to the supermarket and occasionally
That's so
bring out
true.
a guitar.
I love
I'm not saying
the
that
thing-
this is bad, but it's not exactly what rock fans and
What I like,
Why is that so true?
it really is true. And I love that they showed Ed Sheeran because I always thought he was like the most like dude guy I've ever seen in my life. Like he's a dude, you know? He's just a
dude.
guy. That's it. Like I don't even know how else to say.
He gives off like next door neighbor vibes.
If I'm thinking about male pop stars who have kind of like broke the mold a little bit, the only one that comes to mind like right away is Harry Styles, because he did like the magazine shoot where he wore that
The dress. Yeah.
So I know that he at least has that in him, and I've seen him, like some pictures of him performing. He's got like really low cut, like almost like 70s disco.
Yeah.
So like I feel like he, in my mind, is the only one I can think of that really kind of does whatever he wants and doesn't really care. Other than that, I can agree that every
Yeah, at
other
least
one
in
is
like
just
the pop genre.
exactly.
Another person who for me gives off like Lady Gaga vibes. Did like a pole dance for the devil or something. Twerked on the devil.
Oh, Lil Nas X.
Lil Nas X.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he's a good that's a good example too.
Yeah, that's like a good like. I wouldn't necessarily consider him pop. I would consider him more, well, maybe pop.
I think
or rap.
Well, like pop and rap kind of
Yeah, they've got like
they
some weird
intermingle
hybrid
now.
going on.
Yeah, so I'd put him in the pop category, sure.
Yeah, but I would say Lil Nas X really loves to push those boundaries and like do
does.
like the really cool like showmanship and theatrical stuff.
Yeah, which I love.
Love that.
Yeah, I think it's so cool. Yeah, like Lil Nas X is a good example. I feel like Harry Styles could be a good example too.
People just like laughing at conventional norms. It's very
metal.
rock star.
It's metal, guys.
It is metal.
armies are looking for. Powerful energy, practice, and some thought to the presentation of the performance matter to most successful rock bands and BTS. And the size or importance of the stage doesn't matter. Whether they are at a small venue or a huge concert, they give their everything. I see a lot of people saying that they don't understand how BTS can dance those difficult choreographies in sync while singing live and changing formations all the time, to the extent that they make it seem easy, like they were born with all this talent, when in reality there were hundreds of hours of practice. The same way a rock band can have the illusion that they are careless, they are punk, they don't need practice, they don't care about anything.
Hamburg, Hamburg, I can park
everywhere. I don't.
But to make all of the instruments and live vocals sound good, as well as having a good presence on stage that feels like one cohesive group, they had to have a lot of practice. Both BTS and rock bands care about being impactful and giving an impression. And to do this in the most honest way, they do it through live performances, because anyone can fool the audience with an amazing music video. But to prove that they are good performers, they put a lot of thought and hours of practice to their live performances. I don't know if this happens with other people, but I genuinely think that some live versions of BTS songs and my favorite rock and metal songs are better live than in the studio, because it may sound less perfect, but it can feel more real and interesting.
Yes!
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. 앞으로 더. Go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. 달리자 roar.
My point is that both
Yeah.
BTS and rock bands
I like that. You guys know my favorite thing to say is, but can they do it live? And it's my go-to for that exact reason, because it's easy to do like the production magic and all that stuff in studio and making music videos and stuff like that. But when you have to do it live, that's where it shows all of like the hard work that's gone into it. And for them, they've got like all the additional choreography, and they definitely do not disappoint.
There's something special about like a live performance, the just rawness behind it. Sometimes there's like albums that can capture that. Like one of my favorite sounding albums is Paramore's self-titled album. I think it just sounds like it's a little bit polished, but it just also sounds very raw. They let her vocals kind of sound raw. Everything just sounds like open and like kind of breathy. And it almost sounds like we could have been at a venue with like just a really decent audio production there. That's how I feel about the album. It sounds so good. So when it comes to especially like metal music, take that into a live setting and everything hits so much harder, because not only do you hear it, but then you feel it. And like all the, you know, metal and rock is just rich for all the dynamics and the low ends and the high ends and everything in between. And it's just like an entire experience.
Yeah. And there's always like a really heavy emotional aspect.
Exactly. So you have the well-practiced, like extreme performances that they were talking about. And then, you know, just the energy of everything and just the raw sound from it, the in the moment playing of however they're feeling and the audience is feeling. And I almost argue that all songs are better live. I will almost make that argument. As long as the artist has put the time in to be good live, I'd say that a concert by them will probably always be better than just their album.
Yeah. At least like when it comes to people who see like the true artistry in a live performance, because then they are putting their heart and soul out on that stage and everybody there can feel it. And so I can see why she would pull that correlation with BTS, because yes, every time we've seen them live, they put their everything on the stage. And we've seen the aftermath, even like after their concerts, where they're backstage just breaking down because they feel like maybe they didn't give like a fraction of what they had, or what they had wasn't good enough, because they just pour everything out. And when that happens, you often have like an emotional breakdown before or after a performance. It just happens because you're so raw and you're so exposed that the entire thing is like an experience, not just for the audience, but also for the artist.
Extreme, complicated, well-rehearsed, passionate, impactful performances. Being boring is not an option, and you can see it on the audience's response.
That was like a show that I've never seen in my life. I've been to so many concerts, I have seen festivals, I have seen like massive productions, but that dwarfs every other show I've ever seen in my life. I don't even know how to compare that to anything I've ever seen.
후회도 모르지 아니면 외로움이나 나을지 여전히 모르겠어 서스퍼는
I know that some people may say, well, extreme, well-rehearsed performances are common in
excited for
all of
that.
K-pop, and that is true. I'm going to ignore those groups we all know are very lazy and don't like to perform. I'm going to ignore that lip-syncing or singing with loud, pre-recorded vocals are extremely common in K-pop. With all of that out of the way, it's known that K-pop groups in general practice a lot for their performances. But the reason why I care about BTS specifically is because there is a very heavy personal identity the members have with their music. To be more specific, they identify themselves with their lyrics. This may sound like an obvious thing, but let me explain why I found this surprising. There is this popular topic in K-pop regarding noise music. This is usually music that is out of the ordinary and that sounds very extreme. It's usually EDM and dubstep, but it's considered experimental. The first description may attract listeners like me because I love listening to people scream with a bunch of instruments being loudly played in the background. But K-pop's noise music is seen in a negative light because it's loud and too much without any reason to be. On the other hand, I feel like rock and metal are emotions coming to life. The songs are intense because feelings are intense. These extreme songs have a purpose and a meaning, and you can more easily recognize what the song wants to say by reading the lyrics. And yes, I'm saying reading the lyrics because even though most rock fans listen to rock music in their language, sometimes these intense genres have unintelligible lyrics.
Classic Green Day.
I know.
Korn.
So good
They're
live.
so good live, yeah. So good live.
English is not my first language, so I was always open to foreign music. This is why I consider reading lyrics part of the listening experience. Sometimes you may even understand what the singers are saying, but reading the lyrics of a song makes you concentrate exactly on the message and your interpretation of it. I'm not saying that it's always like this, but the rock songs I happen to listen to have amazing lyrics most of the time, and the live performances are those lyrics coming to life. The same way, BTS's music has 7 unique songwriting styles that work cohesively and that feel authentic and natural on stage. Different artists can practice their performances, but they won't truly connect with the audience if lyrics don't matter. You can do the most complicated choreography the world has ever seen, but if the song and lyrics are not there, music fans that care for some kind of connection and real emotion won't be satisfied by your magic tricks on stage. BTS cares about their lyrics and correctly interpreting those lyrics on stage. We know that RM is the literal definition of a poet. Suga has been writing for himself and others way before being in BTS. J-Hope quickly became one of the most respected songwriters in South Korea, and the vocal line, Jin, Jimin, V, and Jungkook learned how to write music fast because they care about bringing a meaningful message to the group and correctly interpreting this message in their live performances. For all of them, lyrics matter because lyrics are emotions and stories and messages.
Personally, huge connection with the theme and the lyrics that they're talking about. It made me think of the first song that we wrote
So
together.
weird.
BTS is kind of like in a area of genre where I wouldn't really mess around in, but something about the way that they write and the way that they make their lyrics flow and everything like that just keeps me really hooked in, which doesn't happen a lot with like a hip hop or like poppy side, you know?
Yeah.
Really intrigues me. They're great songwriters, and the fact that they're making me just want to slam this song out 50,000 times in a row is impressive.
The vocal line for me, I was like, it seems like it's going to be more pop.
Oh god, that was a big segment from us, I feel like.
I know. I feel like it's so weird.
That was so weird.
Septasoreception.
I know, and god, our lighting has gotten so much better.
Yes,
And like
I would agree.
like looking at like the improvements, like watching that, and then like looking, or you couldn't have like chose like a more
More recent.
a more recent one. Boracity.
Where we were talking about that.
I know we're gonna have to just update all of our videos. It's time to go back to the catalog.
Let's go back through now.
This area is interesting to me. Okay. So we're in like a lyrics matter area. So the thing here for me is that lyrics don't always matter. I don't think that you have to have super meaningful lyrics for the song to make an impact. Korn was one of my favorite metal band growing up. Korn, right? Like she was kind of just saying, about Korn is that like you can't always understand what they're even talking about.
Yeah.
But the music, the aggression in it, the way that they wrote it gave me like emotional release. I didn't need to know what he was saying. I didn't need to understand what he was saying. I could just feel what he was saying. I could hear how he felt saying what he was saying and the emotions behind the music. Not only that, but you can slap me into some kind of like orchestral concert and you could play with my emotions with just instrumental pieces. And then there is times where just lyrics, just vocal performance and with lyrics would be enough to get that emotional response. But when they do have the combination of very good music and very good lyricism, and then it comes together,
it's very powerful.
It's very powerful.
Well, and I definitely understand why your brain doesn't always need like the lyrical content as well. But like for me, because I do write lyrics and stuff, it's a really important part because that's how I tell my story in, I guess, our common language with the audience is like I can actually tell a story that way. And then through that, they can start to feel those emotions and everything. But then just like you said, it's more impactful when it's a package deal.
It's like a dance back and forth.
Yes. And I mean, as much as lyrics are important, I love a good message. And we always go and read the translation so we know what they're talking about. I do agree with you that you don't always have to understand what people are saying in order to feel the message, which I think is where it always hits home harder, is how a song makes you feel. I think especially when it comes to their genre, BTS and their message makes them stand out among the crowd because they got a lot to say and they don't really care who they upset with what they have to say. And that's
metal, bro.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like,
no, it is. That's
pretty metal.
There's a lot of metalheads that I personally know that do not care about lyrics. They don't care about what the song is saying. They don't care about the message. They only care about those brutal breakdowns and those heavy riffs.
And the lows.
And the lows, yeah. So, preference. I'm a little bit. I'm like in the middle. I do love me a good message, but I don't need one. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And I do love me a good message.
Yeah.
But I will say that it is a lot more impactful when it's a full package.
Yeah, and that's the hard part and fun part, at least for us to do. So
yeah, and BTS is very good at it.
BTS are amazing at it.
Poppy, and I'm not really into pop music very much, so that was the thing that I was nervous about. But then whenever I heard Epiphany, I was like, damn, pop
still
music
haven't heard that.
can actually carry a very deep message and something that I needed to hear at the time. And so like that was a changing moment for me being a fan of theirs.
The BTS members write about themselves and their perceptions of the world. This is why their albums always reflected the stage of life they were going through. During their school years, they wrote about school. When they entered adulthood, they wrote about youth. If they live something, they write about it. Their songs usually have an easy and relatable message that doesn't require much thought, as well as a deeper, complicated meaning that requires some analysis. This is why so many ARMYs, including rock fans, take the extra step of reading lyrics by a translator who gives context. Because I'm not joking when I say that these can be multi-layered poems with tons of wordplay that need interpretation and references about books, movies, traditions, movements, and different events that happen in South Korea and the world. This is how their music became some kind of social commentary. Just like with rock music, BTS has the occasional love song here and there, but most of their music has some kind of social commentary. Whatever the social or political message is, this is extremely common in rock and metal music.
We are the fortunate ones. We've never faced oppression's
magician and you start to pull your hair. You wanna tell him what you think can care.
The same way, BTS debuted with the mission of sharing social messages. And although some people say that BTS doesn't care about social commentary or impactful lyricism anymore, that it's completely false and shows how a big part of the general public and K-pop fans don't read lyrics by themselves. They just repeat what others are saying. In every single album, from their first one to their most recent one, they have dealt with topics related to psychology, philosophy, politics, and society. BTS's rebellious lyrics were one of the main reasons why a group from a very small label with zero industry support got the attention of many. This type of success story is also common in rock music, because the mainstream music industry doesn't pay as much attention to rock bands as they do with pop solo acts. So BTS's first trilogy of albums, known as the School Trilogy, attracted a lot of rebellious students and young people, since the songs were about many topics related to school life, as well as criticism on the education system and expectations society enforces on adolescents.
He looks so cute in those glasses.
I know. It's like little babies.
As the years pass, BTS started incorporating psychological concepts to their songs,
I'm so excited for that one.
listeners
I know.
who look for music that talk about mental health problems. And again, this is also very common in rock music. The same way, BTS has written about depression, anxiety, grief, loneliness, pain,
I heard those whistle tones.
I know, me too.
and insecurities. While continuing the conversation of mental health
That's cool.
issues, BTS
cool
amplified
video.
the social
I like that
commentary
art.
on the education system to larger systems like society, consumerism, toxic masculinity, social differences, and injustices.
J-Hope's has like such a unique flow.
I know, I really like it. And of course, songs like Change and Equal Sign may be obvious with their message, but even the most catchy songs with colorful and happy performances may have some kind of social message too. For example, the execution of Go Go is, in my opinion, one of the most rock and roll heavy metal songs I've ever heard. In the live performances, they laugh in your face. They basically do a choreography full of dance trends at the time while wearing expensive trendy outfits. The chorus is extremely catchy with a lot of popular phrases that young people like to repeat. But what they're singing is a protest on consumeristic materialism, and what they're doing is making fun of careless spending, especially when young people spend all their money on useless trends just to fit in.
Even Boy With Love, that song that got me into BTS, was commentary on themselves from the past. Boy With Love is some kind of growth from their previous single, Boy In Love. The extreme pink and bubblegum pop work as a response to toxic masculinity and gender roles. They sing that someone's true strength doesn't come from big luxury. It comes from finding joy in the smallest things in life. At the same time, this feminine and even glamorous aesthetic complements the psychological idea of a persona, which they explore on their album chapters Map of the Soul based on Jungian psychology. Just like this, BTS implements psychological concepts, classical fiction, and social movements in every single album.
So I definitely agree with the social commentary aspect of that. Because it's very metal, very rock and roll to talk about important things like that and to challenge social conventions. And I love that BTS does that. And there's so many that we still haven't even heard.
Yeah, there's still a lot we gotta listen to
And
check out.
Every time I'd read it up there and I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody keeps saying we need to hear that one. But we're trying to like go in order.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. It's fine. It's fine.
When they talk about things like anxiety and depression and like social expectations that are put on to youth and everything, I think that makes it very, very relatable for people. And I know it's not necessarily the things that people want to hear when they are listening to the music that like their kid is listening to or something like that. They don't want to hear all of those challenges of social convention, but that's what we need because there's no growth without confrontation.
Yeah, plus like when I was younger in like junior high, I started going through a bunch of like anxiety and depression, stuff like that. And you feel really lonely when you're going through that kind of stuff, especially like at that age, you don't really understand even what's going on.
Yeah, you have no idea what's happening, just that you are sad or angry and don't feel right.
I was like, because I was angry all the time, like constantly. There was hardly any time that I was not angry. I was just a very angry teenager. So when it came to the music I was listening to, it was also very angry. It made me feel like I wasn't alone and I was connecting with other people who felt the same way.
Yeah, it's like a validation.
Yeah, and like it makes you feel better, like you are normal. You're not this outcast weirdo that nobody understands. And when you push the norms, you're reaching out to those people who are struggling, you know, and might be listening to your music and they might hear something you say and they're like, oh my God, you're like me. And they might be the type of person who feels like they are all alone. They have no one to talk to, but they at least have this artist, you know, BTS or whoever it may be, that helps connect with you and helps you understand maybe your emotions and what you're feeling.
Yeah. And I think when they talk about those things and you hear that message and it resonates with you, it makes you feel heard. And that is a magical feeling because then you know that you have a community that understands you. You're not alone. You can connect with that. And then obviously you're going to want to hear more from them. And you develop a relationship with that artist. It's so cool. And I think that is definitely very rock star of them.
At the end of every segment, rock star or not? Rock star. All right, moving on. Not rock stars.
Do they get the rock star?
The rock star.
Sense of community.
Yes. What a coincidence.
Finally, I think of BTS as rock stars because they created a fandom with a strong sense of community. While the rock and metal scenes have served as the vehicle for multiple subcultures, such as the goth, punk, and emo subcultures, BTS has created a significant shift in fandom culture. Just like with rock and metal genres, BTS's socially conscious music has inspired their fandom army to work more as a movement than a fandom. Of course, the sense of being part of something bigger, along with other people who enjoy the same thing as you creates a strong community. But ARMY also bond over their mission of breaking the fangirl stereotype by paying attention to social issues and taking action. I already made a video explaining how ARMY's unique story has changed fandom culture, but in general, it has to do with the way ARMY normalized within the fandom privacy, respect, security, and generosity. If you are skeptical of what I'm saying, please watch the video. The BTS Army is some kind of movement in pop culture. If there's a social issue, ARMY organizes themselves to follow BTS's steps. If it becomes public that BTS donated to a certain organization, ARMY matches their donation. If BTS cancels their tour because of the COVID pandemic, ARMY donates their ticket refunds to pandemic relief organizations. If BTS tickets get sold out faster than ever, ARMY donates their ticket money to organizations helping the victims of a current disaster. Charity and different initiatives happen all the time in the ARMY community. I'm not saying that extreme performances, lyrics that matter, or social commentary are exclusive to rock music and BTS. Of course, some of these factors are also common in other genres. But my point in making this video is that I, as a rock fan, got interested in BTS and became a fan, something I never thought would happen. The same way, fans of many other genres got interested in BTS and became fans because the BTS members are extremely versatile artists. So while I see them as rock stars, fans of other genres may associate BTS with characteristic traits of their favorite music genre. Their rock characteristics are my favorite and what I appreciate the most in them. But a hip-hop fan may think that their deep appreciation and ability at rap is what makes them special. A fan of pop music may think that their ability to make their songs sound fresh and modern is what makes them special. A fan of dance may think that it's their polished choreographies what really makes them special. And an R&B or jazz fan may think that their musical complexity and ability to interpret emotions on stage is what really makes them special. Whatever it is, Suga was right when he said that you like BTS music if you listen without prejudice.
She made so many good points.
Yeah.
And I love her accent. I don't know what kind of accent that is, but listening to her voice through the video was just magical. I love it. She has a really good voice. So I had to give her props really quick. I'm glad that she touched on the community aspect of it because ARMY is awesome. And they do so many amazing things literally for the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important topic that a lot of people don't acknowledge enough because ARMY does a lot of good.
ARMY's done so much and are so giving, just like BTS.
Yeah, and they actually do really focus on giving people like privacy and respect.
Yeah.
And they've got like the purple ribbon that they do, which when I found out about that, that was so cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was so sweet. I was like, that's so thoughtful.
Mm-hmm. For as long as we've been doing BTS stuff, which is over a year now, a lot of videos, we haven't really dealt with like any toxic community. We have heard that it is out there, and I have been told that we are one of the lucky ones that doesn't really deal with that. Mm-hmm. I don't really know if that's true, but from our experience, ARMY is is like the main driving force behind us enjoying BTS. Without ARMY, we wouldn't have checked out more BTS, I don't think.
Yeah.
Our video did very well. I think it's one of our most viewed videos on the channel. Is the first one that we did. And we saw that it was getting numbers, which was cool, but we weren't in it for the numbers. You know, that wasn't the goal. We just wanted to check out new stuff and kind of see what was behind the fandoms and stuff. And I was like, yeah, no, that was cool, but I don't know if we're going to be checking out anymore. And then when ARMY came in and everyone was just so nice and understanding, and instead of being mean, they were just like giving us suggestions about, oh, well, maybe you like this, maybe you like that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, stuff like we had a lot of questions. I'm like, when I didn't know them, you know, RM, I was like, that guy, he looks like he'd be like the leader dude. I wonder if he's the leader guy.
Yeah.
And everything else. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, that's RM and this. They just educated us, which is kind of what we were looking for.
Yeah.
Was like checking out new stuff and then getting this feedback is like a back and forth with the community. And without Army,
That never would have happened.
Yeah, that wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't love BTS like I do. I feel like one of the biggest reasons that I like BTS so much is because of the fandom, is because of Army.
Yeah, because otherwise we wouldn't have delved any deeper. So Army is the reason why we became Army.
Yeah.
Because they were so thoughtful and encouraging and just so nice. Everyone was so nice and helpful in the comments because we hadn't heard any like K-pop or anything like that. And we didn't really know what we were even getting into. And those two songs as our first songs were kind of actually outliers from other BTS songs because of like when it comes down to like lyrical meaning and everything, those songs were more to just be like, hey, enjoy life, feel good.
Yeah, that's just their fun songs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of their other songs are not like that, but we didn't know that. Those are the first ones we heard. So then everybody explaining things like that to us and why they wrote those songs when they did and everything was really important, I think, in helping us start to understand this big, crazy picture that is BTS. Because if you just glance at it, you're only going to see like this tiny little sliver, and there's way more
so
there.
Much there, yeah.
Yeah. And we definitely already consider ourselves like baby Army. And there's still so much from BTS that we have not seen or experienced yet. And that's also like one of the really fun parts is they are artists and they have a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a lot to get through.
I feel like we were able to go into BTS with like an open mind, as where a lot of people can't, I don't think, especially a lot of metalheads or the rock community. There are a lot, I think, that do get into BTS, but then you have this other side that would never just like, no, just would not be having it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's like a divide down like the metal community where there's like this one side of the metal community that likes kind of just whatever, mainly heavier music, but then they'll trail off into pop music, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
They'll dabble.
And then there's like the side where they like metal music and then kind of just heavier and more brutal, and they would never touch it. And I feel like a lot of the people who like BTS are the ones who are like the ones that are like, yeah, no, I love me some like Architects and stuff like that, or like Guar and whatever. But I also like Linkin Park, stuff like that. So I like, just to be fair, I already listened to a lot of pop music. I like pop music and rock music and metal music. So when it came to BTS, enjoying their music wasn't a surprise to me. You know what I'm saying? It didn't take much for me to like be like, yeah, no, I like that.
I'm obviously within that as well. I just listen to any music that makes me feel something. Because for me, that's what music is about. It's about emotional expression. And that's what I love. And I listen to literally anything as long as it makes me feel something.
Yeah.
Then I will keep listening to
like, it's got to make me feel something, though.
Yeah.
So, like, happy, sad, angry. It just got to make me feel at least something. Maybe want to dance.
Yeah.
But if there's nothing, if it's like a neutral, then
I'm not going to listen to it again.
Listen to it again.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I definitely agree with the quote that she had right at the end from Suga.
Mm-hmm.
That if you listen without prejudice, you will enjoy their music.
Yeah, I guess that's a way more refined version of what I was saying. But I felt like I had to say it, you know what I'm saying?
And I think that it's a good way to explain it, especially coming from our community. Each little like musical subculture has like their little like toxic side. But I think we all try not to let the toxic sides define the fan bases of each genre. Just like with Army. Like, it just happens. It just creeps into every fan base.
I know somebody who literally, they hate music with like a deep meaning, like with an emotional connection, like, and the lyrics actually telling a story and stuff. I know somebody who hates it, cannot stand it, only listens to like just like dance music or silly songs about goofy things. That's it.
So weird.
As for being rock stars, I don't know if I'd label them as rock stars.
I think it just depends on your definition of a rock star.
I think they've transcended rock stardom.
I would agree with that.
I think they're beyond that. Rock stars, the famous musician usually in the rock and metal genre. In the 80s, it became like a bigger thing where rock star almost became like an identity instead of like a profession, right? I want to be a rock star. Okay, now you're talking about the money and the drugs and the girls. And
yes.
In the 80s, at least.
Yes.
Throughout the years, it's kind of like shifted.
Yeah.
The drugs and the girls and all that stuff really got like pulled back, kind of taken out.
Yeah, that got like actually pushed over into the rap community.
Yeah, they got, which at the beginning, when I mentioned that I almost feel like rap stars or hip hop stars are almost like the rock stars now. Because like they're living that 80s rock star life.
The 80s rock star, yeah.
But if you're taking like current rock artists that are very popular and saying that those people are rock stars, then sure, I guess BTS could be up there. But I would say that they're more just stars, period. They're not pop stars. They're not like hip hop stars or rock stars. I think they are kind of just their own thing.
Yeah, at this point.
Because they're so huge and they do so much more than just perform and write music. Yes and no, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think I would argue too hard if someone wanted to call them rock stars, but there'd be a conversation had.
Yeah, and I like how at the end she wrapped it up to where she's comparing them to rock stars because those are the musicians that she connects with and idolizes.
Yeah.
Which is why she's making that comparison of BTS, because she idolizes them and enjoys them and their artistic expression. So she's putting them on the same level as the other artists she enjoys. So for her, they're rock stars. But she clarified that other people would respect them for whatever it is that they enjoy as well.
Which is why they need to transcend rock stardom. Like they are, like to some people, I guess they are, but they're not though. Because that's the point of them, is that they aren't this one genre.
Yeah, they've transcended genres.
We need a new word, you know?
They do need a new word.
Yeah.
I don't know what word it would be.
I don't know either.
Maybe we'll have to make a new word for them.
Yeah, they need like their own new label for what they are.
But overall, I really enjoyed the video.
I did too.
And I thought that she structured it very well.
Yeah.
And made a lot of very good points. I love her voice. And I am honored that she used some of our clips in there.
I'm not honored. Or she should have used only Septa in here. I don't want to have to hear myself.
We're a package deal, baby.
Yeah, I guess so. No, but yeah, I am too. Super weird to see. I don't know how I liked that, but
it is weird, but it was also really flattering that she felt a connection to what we had to say about them.
Right. Yeah. SeptaSOAREception.
SeptaSOAREception.
Ultimately, yeah, a very good video. Like all the points I mainly agree with. There's like some like preference things that are different, but like welcome to life. So yeah, Boracity Magazine, like you did well. Thank you for putting us in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and also thanks for making it, because it is really cool to see how many other like metalheads and rockers are just drawn to BTS because it's a thing.
It is. It is. Yeah, it really is a thing.
Yeah, somehow they speak to our souls.
Right.
And I absolutely love it.
So thanks for letting us ramble forever. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Tell us what you think, especially if you're another metalhead. What do you think?
Yeah.
And be nice. Okay.
Yeah. And she made it very clear that she's just sharing her opinion, which thank you for sharing your opinion. And I like your brain. You made a lot of really good points. And you looked at it from a lot of different angles that I thought was really cool.
If you made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing and even hitting that bell. We have plenty of other just reactions and stuff. Go check that stuff out.
Do it.
We also have a Patreon if you want to support us over there. Yeah. Until next time.
Please remember that we love you.
Stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.